When did becoming your best self become a death sentence? My brother Ethan decided to confess his love to his college crush Sophia at her wedding. During the father-daughter dance, he pulled her aside and begged her to leave with him right then, pouring out 2 years of feelings while her new husband Brandon watched from across the room. She touched his arm gently, saying, "Oh, Ethan, I could never see you that way." And in the parking lot afterward, he counted 10 rejections on his fingers while bridesmaids laughed about his desperate last attempt. Ethan channeled his humiliation into the most dramatic transformation I'd ever seen. He hired a trainer and nutritionist and consumed every dating podcast that existed like they were scripture. 6 months and his soft edges became sharp angles, and his extra-large shirts hung like tarps on his shrinking frame. By year 1, he'd packed on 30 pounds of muscle, and his face looked transplanted from another person. Women who used to walk through him suddenly stopped mid-stride to stare. One shirtless Instagram post exploded with 500 likes and comments from 3 women who'd rejected him before. His DMs flooded with "Hey stranger" messages, including one from Jessica who'd laughed in his face at prom. After their date, she desperately texted for weeks while he left her on red. I thought he was finally winning, but then I noticed the motivation board on his wall with photos of all 10 women who'd rejected him, which seemed intense but harmless enough. But then the supplements started piling up in his bathroom, and his eyes got this weird intensity when he talked about women. He would match with girls on dating apps and take them on expensive dates just to ghost them afterward. I found this journal where he rated each date and wrote about how good it felt to be the one walking away for once. The worst part was when he started going after the married women from his rejection list. He would record their conversations on his phone and play them back later while writing notes. When I finally confronted him about the journal, he just smiled and said those women deserved to feel worthless after what they did to him. Everything spiraled when Ethan targeted Sophia's marriage. He joined her husband Brandon's gym and introduced himself as Ryan from finance. His transformation was so complete, Brandon never recognized the soft, awkward guy from his wedding. For 2 months, Ethan spotted him on bench press while texting me creepy progress updates. He studied Brandon obsessively, then invited him for drinks one night. Whatever Ethan said that night worked, because Brandon went home and told Sophia he thought he was gay. Their marriage imploded within a week. Brandon moved out and started questioning everything while telling Sophia that Ryan helped him realize he'd been living a lie. Ethan swooped in as Sophia's support system, bringing coffee and tissues while she sobbed. She had no clue Ethan orchestrated everything. He sent me screenshots like trophies writing Phase 3 complete. Meanwhile, Brandon spiraled into depression, and Ethan kept telling Sophia her husband was probably always gay. It crashed down when Brandon saw Sophia at the grocery store and broke down crying. He told her how Ryan got him drunk and convinced him his lack of passion meant he was hiding his sexuality. How this guy pushed him to explore and tried setting him up with men. When Brandon showed her Ryan's photo, Sophia went white. She drove straight to Ethan's apartment where I was dropping off groceries. She pounded on the door screaming, "I know what you did, you sick freak!" When Ethan opened up, she shoved past him, losing it completely. "You destroyed my marriage because I didn't want you in college? You're insane." Ethan smiled calmly, saying, "I just helped Brandon find his truth. Not my fault you married a gay man." Sophia slapped him hard, calling him a pathetic loser who ruined 2 lives over a college rejection. She promised a restraining order if he came near her again. After Sophia left, Ethan panicked. He kept saying if he looked better, Sophia would understand he did it for her. That's when he ordered sketchy pheromone enhancers from a foreign website promising to make any woman fall in love. The bottle had warnings in 3 languages, but Ethan drank it all at once. Within days, his face started melting. His skin peeled off in sheets, and his features shifted like putty. He lost 20 pounds the first week and couldn't keep water down. By week 3, he dropped 50 pounds and looked like a skeleton wrapped in loose skin. When he hit 70 pounds lost in week 4 and started hallucinating, I called an ambulance. The ER doctors said his organs were shutting down and his body was eating itself from the inside. After stabilizing him, they transferred him straight to the psychiatric ward. Now he weighs less than he did in middle school, and half his face droops like melted wax. But every morning he does facial exercises and asks the nurses about reconstructive surgery. He posts old photos on Instagram with motivational quotes about never giving up. Last week he sent me a link to a clinic in Mexico that claims they can rebuild faces using stem cells. Just need the right doctor, he wrote.